Ole Miss fans need a hotel for the game weekend? Many OTAs keep all the commissions, but at Fan Plans, you still get your loyalty points, receive direct confirmation from the hotel, and you support Rebel Grove. Visit fanplans.com/Rebel Grove today.
Welcome into another edition of the Mason Brooks Show, presented by The Rogue. I'm Neil McCready. That is Ole Miss offensive lineman and fantasy team owner Mason Brooks. We will talk about his fantasy team and other things here momentarily. Do want to tell you that we're brought to you each and every week by The Rogue. It's your destination for fine men's clothing. Their stylists hand-select pieces from top designers. From work to lifestyle to nightlife, there's the perfect something for everyone at The Rogue. All the best items from Peter Millar, Martin Dingman, Jack Victor, Halsey, True Grit, so many more brands. What they do is they deliver fine men's clothing. They've been doing it for more than 55 years. Their classic style, attention to detail, commitment to excellent service continues to make The Rogue a special place to shop. It's 4450 I-55 North in Jackson or therogue.com. Mason, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Man, I'm good. I'm good. I got back from Nashville about 1 o'clock. You got back a long time before that. You guys bust back. I went back to the hotel and started working on Sunday stuff and got up this morning, and my intention was to leave much earlier than I did. And it was like, no, I'm close to being done. I'm just going to keep working. And then I looked up and it was after 9 o'clock, and I'm like, tit for tat. But it's okay.
Well, lazy Sunday in Nashville isn't the worst thing ever, though. So
no, I like Nashville a lot. It's a cool town.
I love it. We lived an hour away, when I was at WKU. We talked about it a little bit, but it was funny. We were leaving the stadium. We passed a Wendy's, and I used to drive Uber Eats in Nashville. I don't know if I told you or not, but I would park it. So in the summer, just like to make ends meet, sometimes I would drive Uber Eats, and it was only really like worth it if I drove to Nashville, but I drive early and stay late so that I can make enough money, basically to make it worth it. And I would park at that Wendy's right outside of the Vanderbilt Stadium, and just look in there and be like, dang, like I could play in there. And so it was cool. It was kind of a full circle moment for me. But no, I used to drive Uber Eats down in Nashville, and we'd hang out there a lot. So it's definitely not the worst place to be stuck in.
What's the weirdest Uber Eats thing you ever encountered? Because I know you never know what you're going to run into, right? Because you might be taking Uber Eats to a bunch of sorority girls just getting and it could be you could run into some characters.
There's some characters. It's probably similar to Uber, except you don't have as much of an interaction. I drove during the pandemic, which was just kind of interesting to see. Like, really, I drove early pandemic too, and then I drove the summer before that. But it was interesting to see like how everyone kind of responded to like dropping the food off. It was always very like interesting to see how everyone was reacting as the pandemic kind of went on. But the best one I got by far was I was driving to Nashville and this lady ordered Five Guys, and I was about to call it a night, but it was like a pretty good deal. But she lived about 15 minutes out of town, and so I picked it up and I waited at Five Guys, and then you had to get through Nashville traffic, and then I finally got out of town. I mean, she lived kind of far out of Nashville, and I got there and I dropped it off, and she's like yelling at me from the porch, and she was like, "My fries are cold." And I was like, "Well, you lived almost 25 minutes away from Five Guys, so I did the best I could." She was like, "No, they're cold. I'm not." I was like, if you don't tip me, that's okay. I hold tail legally here. If you want hot fries, you could always just get up and drive to Five Guys, and then they'd be super fresh. But I just thought it was funny how she was so upset that her fries were cold, and yet ordered food from a restaurant 30 minutes away, just had it delivered. So
get an air fryer,
exactly.
Warm it up. I mean, there's so many
in the microwave.
There's so many options.
I didn't make your fries. So I got a hoot out of that one. So
all right, you guys, you get a 52-28 win at Vanderbilt. I guess we'll start with a couple of things. First, though, the jumbo package. You're in there on the right side. I couldn't tell if you were like the right tackle or sort of lined up as a tight end
No, I line up at right tackle, and they put Pettis over there on the left or right side at tight end, kind of in like you said, the jumbo package. Put as much weight on the field as you can. I don't know if you saw the backfield,
Yeah,
but the
Katie
backfield
Hill.
had Pegues and Katie Hill and Gwen Shawn. That's a lot of poundage coming down on you. So I've been pushing for that for a while. A lot of the guys have. They love that package just because get in and go. So
How often do you guys work on that?
we run it. We rep it, periodically throughout the week. It's just kind of one of those things that, the circumstance has to be right, and the circumstance was right, and we were ready to go, and we popped it in there. It was a dope play. Happy for that one.
I'm guessing stuff like that's a lot of fun. That when away from just not that the other stuff is mundane, but from the stuff that you rep and rep.
Oh yeah, no. When they run down and grab, we're on different fields, throughout practice. Guys are moving around. When they run down and grab JJ and KD, and they run over and they're all sweaty, and we're like, all right, jumbo package, here we go, and we punch it in there. It's it's a fun play for sure. So,
you guys got off to a slow start. You and I were talking about this before it started. It's not a slap at Vanderbilt. It's just a different environment than what you had played in the week before against Kentucky, than what you'll play in when you go to Baton Rouge, when you go to College Station. It's just a totally different environment. You have to kind of create your own energy. And they, on the other hand, they had a week off. They were kind of geeked up for you guys. You have a number by your name. It's a free, like you said, you didn't say this, I'll say it. It's a free shot for them. No one expects them to win. And if they don't win, nobody's like, oh man, you guys suck, you didn't win. Their fans don't expect them to win either. So it becomes an absolute free shot. And when they have a little success early, you could tell they were like, oh, let's go for it, And so you guys as a team kind of had to figure, okay, how do we kind of get them off the tracks here? Because the longer they go, the shorter the game goes, and the shorter the game is, the better chance they have of pulling it off.
Another one of those teams that likes to control the pace. They got a former NFL staff. I don't know how much you know about their staff, but they were smart. Any team that has 2 weeks to prepare for you is going to have some good stuff schemed up. I think it was apparent early that they had some stuff schemed up. I love the halftime adjustments that Partridge made. As soon as we got in there, there was not a whole lot of lull. It was kind of just like, okay, here we go. This is what we're doing on offense. I could hear him over there. This is what we're doing on defense. New half. That's kind of what I was saying going into the half. And you hear about trap game this, trap game that all week, and you start slow. And I could kind of see, some of the guys were like freaking out, or not really freaking out, but just kind of like, oh, whoa, like what's going on, And for me, and the role that I was in, it was important for me to, like, hey guys, we're liable. I mean, we throw that ball to Mingo there going in the half. I'm like, dude, we're liable to do that at any point. Like, it's us versus us right now. Stop focusing on things we can't control, and let's focus on the here and now. And we just recollected and stayed on the gas, coming out of half. And I think we really, showed some growth there. We've had some bad second halves. I don't know how many bad first halves we had this season. So kind of flipped on our head, and Kiffin dropped that a little bit, in the locker room, kind of, hey, we need to pick it up this half. And, the guys rose to the challenge, and obviously the score reflects that. There were a lot of mistakes, and a lot of stuff we need to polish as we go forward, because we're really about to run the gauntlet here, and everyone's good. Like I said last week, man, it's the freaking SEC. Like, no one's gonna lay down, especially a team like Vandy. Apparently, that we're like rivals.
Yeah, hey, look, they've won that game more than Ole Miss people like to admit. I mean, they've pulled that off. I can remember in 2008, my first year on the beat, the year that Ole Miss went to Florida and beat Tim Tebow, and then the week before they beat Tim Tebow, they lost at home to Vanderbilt. I mean, Vanderbilt's come in and beaten Ole Miss with good teams. I mean, 2 of the last 3 trips to Nashville, I think, were losses. So you can go there and get beat, and they've had just enough success against Ole Miss, frankly, where they I'm sure something they preach in their meetings all week.
Yeah.
Is, hey, Vanderbilt's won this game. We can win this game. Let's go, and that kind of thing. And I thought you saw that energy from them.
I was about to say, you could see the energy. Coach talked about that during the week. He said, look, these guys don't play sad. Like, they got juice. When they make plays, you watch tape against Bama, and it's apparent in the third quarter they're kind of out of the game, whatever, and you don't see any drop off. None. Like, the guys are juiced. And so I was just interested to kind of see how we played it. I think that the whole BYOJ thing is a little bit less relevant for me because I'm used to playing. I played at FIU in front of like literally probably 150 people. I played some flat games, and so for some of these guys, it's kind of change of pace and not norm. For me, it was a little bit more run of the mill, but proud of how we responded, and every week it just feels like things are popping up for us to learn from and to get better at. And so I'm still encouraged to see what more we can fix and correct this week, going to this game, and what I've heard about this game, and kind of a similar thing where Auburn's kind of had our number in and out a couple years, prior. Same thing with Vanderbilt, just kind of one of those games that there's, like every SEC game, anyone can win. So
yeah, it's such a weird look, frankly. Like the early lines came out today, and I saw one was Ole Miss -14, one was Ole Miss -15, and I'll be honest, I was like, man, that is so strange to look at. Ole Miss favored by that much against Auburn because Auburn has dominated the series. I think in the last 20 some odd years, Ole Miss has maybe won five of those games, and Auburn's won the other ones. I kind of felt for you guys, tell me if I'm wrong. Yeah. I kind of felt for you guys that it was probably in some ways moving forward, big picture, a good thing that you went through some adversity.
You look at like the adversity that we just had as a team, kind of the different games that we've had up and down, and trying to put together complete games. You can look at it one way where you're like, oh man, this is frustrating, or that's frustrating. Or you can look at it as like, hey, we've had an opportunity to grow here, we have an opportunity to go here, we've had a slow start, we've had a slow finish. We've played down to our competition, we played above our competition. I'm hoping that too with the transfer, kind of group that we brought in. I'm hoping that this continues to mesh us as a unit. Because you don't have, there's lost time where guys didn't grow up in the same program for 4 years and experience this and that. And so for us to kind of go through the different stuff that we're going through, the adversity and stuff, I'm hoping that continues to bring us, together as a unit and a team. So
this show also brought to you by Liston and Dees. It's a full-service law firm located in Ridgeland, Mississippi, focuses on complex civil litigation. Liston and Dees' clients include individuals, businesses, and state governments throughout the United States. Matt Jones got a late touchdown. He's a guy that, he's in a room where obviously Quinshawn Judkins is in there, Zach Evans is in there. When he's healthy, Ulysses Bentley IV is in there. That is a talented room. How cool was that as a teammate to see him get to score and kind of get his moment to shine there?
Yeah, dope. He's my neighbor, which is super cool. And then he's from Jackson, so he's the Listons and Ely and those guys, and so kind of been one of my buddies, from a distance. We don't hang out a ton, but one of my buddies in the facility a lot. We spend a lot of time together in the facility. And so to get to see someone like that who works, just as hard as everybody else, and is in a room that is so crowded where, sometimes you feel like, oh man, I don't know if they even see me. From what Coach said after the game, he just said, hey, look, I look at all the film and I've been super happy with what Matt's been doing. And we gave him an opportunity, he rose to the occasion. And just that's something special. That's something that Matt will, never forget. And something cool for him to take away for the rest of his life. And so to be on the field for that and to be able to encourage my teammates like that, or like JJ getting a sack at Georgia Tech. I just love, when guys work hard and do things the right way and then get rewarded, for their hard work. It just makes me happy because I know how hard some of these guys work, and you don't always feel like you're, even from, personally, you work really hard and you feel like maybe this isn't panning out or that's not panning out. And rather than sitting and feeling bad, you just continue to wait and wait. And so for that to pay off for these guys really, really genuinely makes me happy. It was awesome. So I was really pleased. Sled dog.
Yes, I hear. Speaking of guys that you've gotten to see pay off, your quarterback a year ago at Western Kentucky, and maybe he was for more than that. Bailey Zappe got the start on Sunday for the New England Patriots. He led them to a pretty convincing win over the Detroit Lions. I don't know. There's got to be a certain degree of pride for you in that you blocked for him. You were his right tackle for at least one season, maybe more than that.
Just one. He came in. He was transferred from Houston Baptist, but me and my dad were actually talking about it yesterday. How cool, in my career, had someone never take away that. I protected that dude for like 850 pass snaps, and I know he loved me and Cole, his left tackle, and his whole line. Good kid. Another one of those people that worked hard and went to Houston Baptist and was overlooked, and went to the draft and was overlooked, and got his opportunity and is making the most of it. And I'm not surprised. I texted him earlier this week and, kind of prodded and poked him about it because I was like, hey, man, I picked you up on my fantasy team. Should I start you? What's the word? Kind of joking. And, he's just so humble. He's like, man, I'm just working hard and, making the most of every day. And we play Call of Duty a lot. And I said, going in, could you equate that to Call of Duty terms? And he said, it's like being the last man on your team and fighting 20 guys at once, that kind of crazy. And I was like, that sounds pretty crazy. But no, so happy to see him succeed and to have just played a little part in, his career is something that I'll be able to take away forever. And obviously, fills me with joy seeing him score, just like Matt Jones or anything like that. I love seeing, my peers and the people that I work hard with succeed. It gives you a good, happy feeling. So
when you were playing with him last year, did you think, hey, this is an NFL quarterback?
We always joked with him, me and my roommate, that he's too slow. But no, pretty early on, I was like, this kid is different. And it was his ability to read the field, honestly. He's got good arm strength and he was really smart with his passes, didn't turn the ball over a whole lot, but just his ability to audible out of stuff, and coverages so quickly, and put us all in the right position. And he just never really panicked. He was always very composed. He reminded me of my high school quarterback, who was the same way. He played as a sophomore and took us to state, and he just was always composed, never really freaked out, and knew what to call and knew where to put us up. So pretty early on, I knew he was probably going to break some records, and then just watching him play and going back and watching the tape, I'm like, dang, dude, I don't know how he saw this safety cover over and the whole defense rotate like this and knew to slip the receiver back. He's just really bright kid. So, and a hard worker too, really hard worker. So that paid off clearly.
We'll start to wrap up here with Mason in a second. First, a word from our sponsor, BetterHelp. It can be tough to train your brain to stay in problem-solving mode when faced with the challenge in life, but when you learn how to find your own solutions, there's no better feeling. A therapist can help you become a better problem solver, making it easier to accomplish your goals, no matter how big or small. I've used therapy as a way to handle stress, clear negative thoughts. It was a life changer for me. If you're thinking of giving therapy a try, BetterHelp is a great option. It's convenient, accessible, affordable. It's entirely online. You can get matched with a therapist after filling out a brief survey, and you can switch therapists anytime you like. When you want to be a better problem solver, therapy can help get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/MPW today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp.com/MPW. Is your dog getting excited about the cooler weather? I mean, it's still warm, but like there's little hints of cold, like not Alaska or the Iditarod. Or is she starting to get a little more spunky?
She's getting a little bit more husky to her. I'm stoked. I love Mississippi and I'm happy to be here, but I'm ready for the thick air that I have to cut through with my hand to get out of my door to be over with. So I'm happy to experience some breeze for once, sit on my porch. So
you're a Texas guy. It's hot there too all the time.
Listen, it's dry in Texas. It is thick. The air is thick. It is hard to breathe. Yeah. Texas is just like, you don't even want to step foot outside because you feel like you're going to melt. But here is like, that's a different kind of heat. So
my brother lives in Katy now. And now listen, there's different, Texas is a big state and there's enough.
Houston gets kind of thick. That's a different kind of. Houston's
gross.
Worse.
It's worse than here.
Oh no, I've heard horrible things about Houston. No offense to Houston, but I've heard horrible things about the Houston weather. I've heard it is no bueno. And when I've been down there for select games and whatever, I've not had a blast. So just I'm complected for like the north, more Nala. My family's all like Norwegian and northern, made for the snow and sled dogs and whatnot. So the heat is definitely not super kind to me. I turned into a lobster in the summer. So
So are you going to go back to Texas after all your colleging is over, or might you experience go north to see what the weather's like?
Dude, I don't know. I've been thinking a lot, kind of still want to see how everything pans out, and depend on if I want to train and still take a jab at the NFL. But I've kind of been thinking about traveling. I've been doing football and been tied to football for so long. I kind of really haven't done anything creative or like unique, which has been like, I'm not complaining at all. It's such a unique opportunity to be able to play college football, but I want to travel. Like, now that I've mastered my fear of flying, thanks to college football, I want to travel overseas and go to Europe or like Japan or something, and just take a trip and do something cool like that. So
the fear of flying is a new thing. Were you were afraid of flying before you got to Western?
Oh my gosh, have we not talked about this?
Oh, we've never talked about this.
My freshman year of college, I wanted to ride on the equipment bus because I hated flying so much. I'd set a timer for the whole flight, and I would hold on to the dude. You can ask any of my former teammates if you ever run into them. I hated flying. Like, held on the seat the whole time, closed my eyes, detested it. But over 4 years, I've finally gotten over it, and now I don't really care that bad. So,
do you relax on flights now, or do you?
Listen, I've formulated a whole plan on how I fly. I have a whole strategy with the gum and the headphones and if I sleep, when I sleep, and what I eat. I could write a book on my flight mastery. So that's what I might do. I might go up north and write a book on how to fly. So,
there you go. You can move to Michigan and write about
move to Michigan and write about flying. That sounds great.
All right. Well, we'll let you go there. Ole Miss and Auburn Saturday, 11 a.m. When we get back next week for the Mason Brooks Show, we'll look back on the Auburn game, and we'll look ahead to a game in a venue that I love to go to, Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. It gets hot there too. The air gets really thick in Baton Rouge, along with other things that get really thick in Baton Rouge. This place is crazy. We'll talk about that next week on the Mason Brooks Show. Don't forget, we're brought to you by The Rogue. It's 4450 I-55 minutes in Jackson, or therogue.com. So for Mason Brooks, I'm Neil McCready. Until next time, take care.